Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. If anyone's popped in who doesn't know me and hasn't been here before, I'm Rachel. I'm a physical therapist here in Palo Alto, and this is Pilates Matwork. We are going to start on our mat. Mat will be laid out horizontally so you can step on it nice and wide and see your screen as well. We're going to bring those feet a little bit wider apart than our shoulders, and let's turn our toes out just a bit if that helps. Keep those knees happy. Find a position of your feet and your legs that feels comfortable to you. We're going to shift our weight over the center of the front and center of our ankle joints and then soften up our knees. Let's let them bend just a little bit. Before we take our arms and move them at all, let's take a big breath in through our noses and a big breath out through our mouths. One more time, big breath in through the nose. Big breath out through the mouth, drawing that belly back toward our spine. We're going to tighten that little seatbelt and muscles right between our two hip bones. Let's take our feet and widen them up just a bit more, keeping those knees soft. We'll now take a big breath in, reaching those arms up. Let's clasp our palms, press them up to the ceiling, and drop our shoulder blades to the floor. Keep those elbows and ears pretty close to each other. Let's take a tall side bend, reach toward one corner of your ceiling. Inhale up toward the ceiling, and then let's exhale to the other side. Again, big breath in, arms up. Exhale to the side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale one more time toward the other corner. We'll bring our arms up, take them apart from each other. Let's straighten those knees, bring in our arms down to the sides, and we'll roll those shoulders back as we bring our feet in a little bit narrower. Here's 3, roll for 2, and roll for 1. We're going to keep our weight over the front of those ankle joints. Now let's lift our toes. We're going to keep the ball of the foot on the floor. So the big toe, the base of the big toe, the base of the pinky toe, and that heel are all in contact with the mat. You'll feel your arches lift a little bit. This might be a little bit of a balance challenge. It might be something different for you. We're going to spread our toes apart and lower them down to the floor. Let's try to lower them down one at a time. We're going to start with the pinky toe, then move to the fourth, the third, the second, and finally that big toe will press into the floor. Let's repeat that a few times with the goal of keeping our weight right over the front of those ankle joints, right over where your shoelaces would be tied if you were wearing shoes right now. Let's wiggle through those feet. Here's 4. Here's 3. Wiggle for 2. Lower them down. Last time, we're going to press those big toes into the mat and shift the weight forward toward the toes and back toward the heels. This time, we'll take our hands right to our midsection. Feel those core muscles engage just a bit. If we're drawing the belly down back toward the spine to tighten that muscle area in general, you should feel them tighten a little further as the weight comes over the edges of our base of support. It's pretty subtle. Don't be alarmed if you're not feeling a whole lot through those hands. We're going to take our weight right back over the front of those ankle joints, and now we'll shift the weight from foot to foot, side to side. If you take your fingertips to your waist now, fingertips in front, thumbs in the back of that waistline, as you shift from foot to foot, you should feel some muscles kick in to your fingertips. They should tighten as your waistline works to stabilize you. All right, we're going to keep our fingers where they are and make some little circles around that base of support. Circle them here for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's circle the other direction. Here's 4. Feel those muscles turn on and turn off in a little circular fashion as we move. 2 more circles here. Last one. When our weight is centered right over those ankle joints again, we can shake our knees out a little bit, and we're going to move to one of the edges of our mat. And now we'll face lengthwise. We'll soften up those knees just a bit again, take our hands right to the fold in the hips, and keeping the curves in our back and the head alignment, and just as it is when we're upright, we're going to hinge from the hips. Take that tailbone back to the wall behind you, the crown of the head forward, either toward the corner or toward the front of the room, right in front of you. We're trying to keep our bodies in a nice, same alignment that it is when we're standing, but we're going to pause whenever we feel that first limitation, first barrier, or first stretch behind those thighs. Let's wiggle it a little bit here. We'll bend and straighten our knees, both together, maybe one at a time. Feel the difference in those hamstrings as they lengthen and then shorten when that knee bends. Let's bend up those knees again, take a big breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to bring our hands down to the mat, make our way down to all fours. We'll turn the tops of the toes under, and let's do a few cats and cows, easing ourselves down onto that mat. Curl the belly up, looking toward those thighs, and then we'll reverse that curve, looking forward toward the front of your room. Curl it up, reverse and control it down to cow. Let's take it right back to the center, and we can wag our tail side to side. Upper body stays nice and still as we bring a hip toward the screen and then toward the wall opposite the screen. Let's take our hips right back to that neutral position. We'll bring our feet together and our knees apart. Let's lower the bottom down toward the heels and walk our hands toward the front of the mat. Drop that forehead toward the floor for a big breath in. You'll feel some opening through the sides of the body, underneath those arms, maybe those armpits. Big breath in. As we exhale, we'll bring our forearms down and we're gonna make our way over to our backs. Take your time here. We're gonna eventually lie down on our backs with the back of the head, the middle back, and that sacrum, that lowest part of the low back, in contact with our supporting surface. It's okay if your low back is lifted a bit from the floor. If you have a bigger natural curve, just maintain that curve. We're gonna draw the belly gently down toward the spine. We'll line up our heels with our sit bones, and let's take an inhale here. As we exhale, think about taking your collarbones away from the center of the body and dropping the outer borders of those shoulder blades down to the mat. Big breath in. As we exhale, we're gonna keep that belly drawn back and we're gonna rock our knees toward the screen and away, just gently rotating through the lower half of the body while keeping those abdominal muscles nice and active. It's okay if the hips lift up from the floor, but we want those shoulder blades nice and still. Let's continue to rock side to side for 4, for 3 towards the screen. Here's 2, rotating away, and last 1. We'll come right back to the center, big breath in. As we exhale, that belly draws down. We're gonna float one knee up to 90 degrees. Take the other knee up to meet it in tabletop position. Those shins will be parallel to the ceiling as if we could balance something on them just below the kneecap. The belly's drawn down. And if you need to flatten your back out to get more comfortable through the low back, that's fine. You can flatten your low back into the mat. Let's take our arms to the ceiling. Hold it here, and then keeping that chin knotted toward the neck and that trunk nice and still, let's reach our fingertips up to the ceiling and lower them down to the mat. Reach them up, lower them down. The trick here is to get that motion coming from those underside of your shoulder blades. Underarms are reaching up to the ceiling and down to the mat. Everything else is staying nice and still. Let's reach up and down for 4. Reach for 3, keeping that belly down. Last 2. Reach it up and lower it down. Keeping everything else nice and still, we can take that arm closest to the screen and open it out to the side. Back of the hand comes toward the mat. And let's inhale, bringing that arm back up to the ceiling. Exhale, opposite arm opens. Inhale to the ceiling. And let's alternate our arms here. Wake up that trunk. If you do need to bring your knees in a little closer to your shoulders, that's okay. Here's 4. Open for 3. Last 2. And last 1. We'll take those arms to the ceiling, big breath in. As we exhale, we'll reset that chin towards the neck. Make sure that belly's drawn down to the spine. And let's take our hands and press them gently toward our thighs, matching that resistance by pressing our thighs back gently toward our hands. Keep your breath going. Inhale and exhale at a regular pace. We're thinking about drawing the belly down, and you should feel some muscles working as you press through those thighs. The muscles are working all the way from that lower rib cage down to that pubic bone. We can increase the challenge by straightening and bending our knees with the goal of keeping everything else nice and still, except for those knees, as those quads tighten up, straightening, and release, bending the knee. Last twice, last 2. Last 1, straighten them up. We can leave them there, or we could bend those knees back to tabletop. Let's take our hands in front of our bodies. We're gonna hover them up off the floor and stretch them toward the wall in front of us. Let's pat them up and down like we're bouncing little tiny basketballs while keeping the rest of the body as still as we can. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Keep it going. If you'd like to nod the chin and lift the head, you're welcome to do that. You wanna feel like your neck is nice and supported. So nodding the chin toward the neck to activate those front stabilizing muscles will help here. Keep your pattern going, inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 5. Remember, we could always extend those legs forward, making this a little more challenging on the abdominals. We could keep the knees bent at tabletop. We could take a foot down for a kickstand. Let's flip those palms up, pressing the air to the ceiling. Breathe it in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last set, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause here, bend the knees to tabletop if they've been elsewhere, and we're gonna bring that upper body down if it's been lifted. Let's take our hands down to the floor, keeping those legs at tabletop. The arms are gonna be 45 degrees away from the trunk, and we're gonna press the outer borders of our shoulder blades into the mat. Let's rock those knees gently toward the screen, pressing that hand closest to that screen into the floor to push the legs back the other direction. Again, just like we did with our feet on the floor earlier in the session, we're gonna keep the knees and feet lifted and rock that body side to side. If this gets uncomfortable on your lower back, you're welcome to pull the knees a little closer to your shoulders or to take those feet down to the mat and keep them lowered as we rock side to side. Here's 4. Switch directions for 3. Here's 2. And last one. Let's take ourselves right back to tabletop. We're going to pull the knee farthest from the screen in toward the chest and extend that opposite leg forward. Straighten that knee. Keep your heel hovered up off the mat. Keep the trunk nice and still and the belly drawn down. Switch your legs. Pull and press. And pull and press. Keep that pattern going. We're going to keep that chin knotted and we'll lift our head up gently off the mat. Keep it moving for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Let's keep that leg farthest from the screen pulled in. That upper body can roll down if it's been up. We're going to keep our straight leg hovered up off the mat and take it side to side, away from the center and then back toward the middle, side to side. You are again welcome to lift that head up if you'd like. Our gaze is directly toward that straight outstretched foot. Last time on this side, we'll pull that knee to the center. Let's switch our legs. Pull the opposite knee in. Press that other leg forward. Again, with the head lifted or lowered, we'll take that straight outstretched leg and move it side to side. Away from the screen, back to midline. Again, that head could be lifted or lowered. One more time, out to the side. Take it back to the middle. We're going to lower that straight leg all the way to the floor. Let's bring that upper body down if it's been lifted. And we'll switch our grip and hold on behind the thigh as we extend that other leg up toward the ceiling. Point those toes if you can. Flex them if the point doesn't feel great. We're going to try to keep some activity through those ankles, whether they're pointed or flexed. Hold it here. Again, if that knee is not all the way straight, that's all right. We're doing the best we can to get that stretch through our hamstrings. Now let's flex and point the foot, mobilizing all that connective tissue around those nerves in the back of the thigh. We can point those toes to the ceiling again, and let's take our arms down to the floor. Press them down right next to the trunk. We're going to think about keeping those headlights of our hip bones pointed directly up to the ceiling as we take that leg side to side. Move in a range you can control, in a range in which you can keep that pelvis nice and still. Maybe we hover our supporting leg up off the floor for a greater challenge. It's okay if one or both knees are bent. We can move through some circles. Draw those circles on the ceiling. Let's circle the other way. Most important thing to do is find a regular breathing pattern. Keep your breath going. Pause with our leg up to the ceiling. We'll lower our other leg if it's been hovered up. Let's grab on behind that thigh. We'll pull it into the chest. Let's switch them up. We'll pull the other knee in to meet that one that's in the chest. Hang on behind the back of that thigh, and we'll slide our opposite leg straight out along the mat. Let's straighten our thigh to the point of getting that stretch or just a limitation to movement through that hamstring. Hold it there, dropping those blades to the floor. And let's flex and point. As we point those toes to the ceiling, hold it there. Maybe we hover our other leg up off the floor, and let's take our hands down by our sides. Press them down into the mat. Think about resetting those collarbones away from the middle of the body as well. And let's draw that horizontal line on the ceiling, keeping that pelvis nice and still, side to side. Let's make some circles. Keep that moving. Let's circle the other opposite direction. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Let's lower that supporting leg to the mat. We'll hang on behind our thigh again. Belly draws down. If you'd like to lift the head, maybe even those shoulder blades up, you're welcome to. And whether those knees are straight or slightly bent, we'll move through our single leg stretch. Opposite leg comes down. Meet them in the center and pull the other leg towards your body. Let's alternate through. Maybe we add a little pulse at the top if you feel like you need a little more hamstring stretch. Good. Here's 4. Here's 3. Last 2. Last 1. Let's pull those knees to tabletop with the hands behind those thighs. With the belly drawn in, we're going to curl the upper body down, and let's give the knees a hug and rock side to side. Inhale and exhale, come right back to the middle. Keeping those knees in toward the chest, we're going to draw the belly down and away from those thighs. Hands come down. Let's bring our knees back to that tabletop position and our arms up to the ceiling. We're going to lower the chin down toward the neck, anchor those shoulder blades into the floor, and reset that navel down toward the spine. Let's take the arm closest to the screen, open it up back overhead. We'll take the opposite leg forward, stretch them out for a nice long diagonal. Let's inhale back up to the ceiling and exhale, switch them up. Inhale to the ceiling, exhale and switch. Switch them back and forth. Here's 8, 7, 6. If you'd like to nod the chin and lift the head, you're welcome to. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring those knees up to tabletop again, arms to the ceiling. The upper body comes down. If it's been lifted, we're going to arc our arms forward to the floor, keep those thighs vertical, and we're going to straighten those legs toward the ceiling. Again, to that stretch point, so the knees may be a little bit bent. They might be straight, depending on what works for you. Flex and point your feet, whether those knees are flexed or pointed. Flexed or extended knees. Point those toes to the ceiling. With the belly drawn down, let's take both legs side to side and make a horizontal line on the ceiling, moving both feet together. Take them back to the middle. Let's open those feet out, narrow V through the legs. Maybe we widen up till we get a little bit of an inner thigh stretch. And then let's bring those feet together, inhaling. Exhale, open to the V. Inhale, center. Exhale, open. Inhale, together. Last one. Exhale, open them up. Inhale, together. We're going to move those legs in circles in opposite directions of each other. Start them small. Again, keeping that pelvis nice and still. If you want to keep your hands right on your hip bones to monitor that stability, you're welcome to. They could also be down by your sides for a little assist. Let's circle the other way. Here's 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Let's bend those knees. We'll flex our feet now, pulling the toes toward the knees. And let's bring our arms up to the ceiling and lower those shoulder blades to the floor. With that belly drawn down, take a big breath in. Exhaling, let's lower our heels to the floor. Inhale into tabletop. Exhale and lower. Inhale them up. Last 2, we could open those arms back behind us for a bigger challenge to those abdominals. Last one, open the arms overhead, feet to the floor. We're going to leave those arms where they are and draw those feet a little closer to the bottom. Knees will be bent, heels will be lined up with our sit bones. With those arms back overhead until that first natural stopping point that you feel at the underarms or at the tops of the shoulders, we're going to hold those elbows straight and draw the chin down toward the neck. Let's draw the breastbone and the middle back down toward the floor. Anchor your lowest ribs down toward the mat as well, and draw that belly down a little closer to your spine. Hold it there. Keeping those hands right where they are, we're going to rotate those shoulder blades. Bring your shoulder blades up to the ceiling and anchor them down to the mat. Lift them up, lower them down. Try to keep those hands nice and still and the same distance from the floor while reaching those blades up as they are when those blades are on the mat. Lift those blades up, lower them down, and hold with that belly drawn down. We're going to extend one leg out in front of us, and then let's see if we can extend the other leg out to meet it. Now, if you do need more support behind your low back, if you feel like you cannot control the arch in your back, feel free to bend one or both knees up again. We're going to keep that belly drawn down and keep that pelvis nice and still as we lift one foot up and lower it down, and then the other up and down. Keep that going at your own speed. If your knees are bent, it'll look like a march. That's perfectly fine. Keep that belly drawn down, lift and lower for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Inhale, relax the body. On that exhale, we're going to take our arms up to the ceiling. We'll arc them down to the floor and bend our knees up. And let's make our way back over to hands and knees. If you'd like to have something to pad your knees a little bit more, you're welcome to take a rolled towel or take your mat and bunch it up a little bit to give yourself a little more room under a little more padding under those knees. All right. Up on hands and knees, we're going to line up wrists and shoulders, knees and hips. Let's hold it here. We're going to turn those toes under. See if you can get the balls of the feet pressed into the floor. Once you're there, keeping that belly drawn down toward the spine, let's rock that bottom toward the heels. You might get a little stretch under the feet. And let's come back up to all fours. Rock it back, take it up. If you're not feeling the stretch, this is basically just a little warm up for those hips. Rock them back and forth. And we'll bring ourselves upright. Let's rock into our cat position, curling the belly up toward the ceiling, and control down to cow, keeping that belly still drawn in. Curl it up to cat, control it to cow. One more time here, curl to cat, control and release to cow. Take it back to neutral and hold nice and still. We can turn the tops of the feet back down to the floor. And let's squeeze our blades together, press the blades to the floor. Squeeze them together, press them to the floor. The goal here again is to keep that back of the head, the middle back, and that sacrum as close to a straight line as we can get them. The normal curve in the low back and the normal curve in the neck will stay right where they are. Press those blades to the floor. Let's come up into single arm. So that hand closest to the screen comes to our thigh. Square those shoulders off to the floor. And again, we'll press and squeeze that blade back. Press the blade to the floor. Squeeze it back. Press it forward. Last 3. Press for 2. Press for 1. Hold it there and let's switch our hands. Take that opposite hand up to our thigh. Square off those shoulders. And again, we'll squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Press that shoulder blade forward. We'll take our hand back down to the mat. Keeping that belly drawn in, let's extend one leg back behind the body. And we're going to hover it just an inch or 2 up off the floor. That trunk is staying square to the floor and that back is staying nice and still. Let's draw a horizontal line on the wall behind us. Take that leg side to side. Keep the elbows a little bit soft if it doesn't feel great to lock them out. Let's stretch that leg back behind us. We'll pull it back in line with your hip. Opposite leg extends back behind the body. Again, keeping that trunk square and that leg covered up off the floor. Let's take it side to side. Draw that line on the wall. Keep it going. 3 more. Here's 2. Here's 1. Let's take that leg behind us. We're going to lift it up a little higher and take our opposite arm up in front. Switch it up. Opposite leg extends with the other arm forward. Let's switch through at your own pace. Think of something that you'd want to keep balanced in the small of your back. Something that you'd like to not have topple over. Hold that body nice and still as we switch through. We're going to hold our next diagonal. And now let's take that knee. We're going to pull the knee in, flex the knee in, flex the other elbow in, draw them toward each other. Let's reach them away. 2 more here. Flex and reach them in. Draw them away. 1 more time, reach them in. Draw them away. And let's switch sides. Bring that leg and arm down. Opposite leg, opposite arm, reach away. And keeping that trunk square, let's bend the knee and elbow in toward each other. Extend them and open away. Bring them together. Open them up. 1 more time here. Bring them together. Stretch them away. Let's switch hands. Other hand comes down. We can come up onto the fingertips on the same side that that leg is outstretched on. Maybe we take that arm forward. Take that hand and that leg down. Shift the weight the other way. Let's take that opposite side up. Reach the leg back, reach that arm forward. Switch them again. We're going to do twice more on each side. Try as best you can to keep your trunk square. If you're having a real difficult time balancing here, we can go back to opposite arm and leg reaching. Switch it up. Whether we're reaching the same side or the opposite. And we'll do 1 more to each side. Usually with this one, people find that there's one side that's a lot easier than the other. Nice thing about that is that we always have something else to work on, right? Last time, reach that arm and leg away from the center. Let's take ourselves back down to all fours, cat and cow. Curl it up and release that curve. Curl and release. Last 2, curl and release. 1 more time, curl it up. Let's release. Let's walk forward a little bit on our mat. Give ourselves a little room to extend. We're going to take our feet back behind the body. We're going to come through a plank and then take that bottom up to the ceiling. Elbows and ears are lined up. Your knees might be bent a little bit if those hamstrings are tight. That's okay. Whether the knees are straight or bent, we're going to drop those heels to the floor and press those palms down into the mat. Press your palms almost forward toward the part of the mat that's in front of you. Let's walk our feet out a bit, bending one knee and bending the other, getting a little bit of length through the back of those thighs. Walk it out for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's press our heels down for a big breath in. As we exhale, we'll come forward, bringing those knees back down to the mat. Let's wag that tail side to side. We'll take it back to neutral. Let's bring our feet together and our knees apart, and we'll take the bottom down toward the heels. Good. Let's reach our hands toward the front of the mat. Take a big breath in here. As we exhale, we'll lower that forehead down. Then let's walk our hands toward our screen. We can take one hand on top of the other. Take a big breath into that other side. Exhale. Let's walk our hands to the other side. Hand over hand, big breath in. Exhale. Let's walk our hands to the center. Big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to come up to our knees and then forward to a sitting position. All right. Let's line our heels up with our sit bones. Knees and feet will be a little bit apart from each other. We're going to hold on behind those thighs, draw that belly toward the spine, and let's extend that body back behind us, opening up the angle at the hips. We could take those arms to a straight position, almost straight position. Keep them a little bit soft, like you're holding a beach ball. Good, hold it there. Draw your belly back and away from your thighs, and let's see if we can come up onto our toes. That being said, if you tend to cramp through your arches, feel free to come back on your heels. We're just looking for a small base of support through those feet. Hold it there. We're going to roll our shoulders back and down a few times. Anchor them down to the floor, and then let's bend and straighten one knee, bend and straighten the other. If you'd like to challenge it further, we can take those arms away from the thighs, bringing them up first to shoulder height. And then if you want to take it farther, those arms could come up until they're parallel with our thighs. It lengthens the leverage on those trunk muscles, makes them work a little harder. Here's 4. Switch for 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. Arms can stay where they are, lifted, shoulder height, or slightly behind the thighs. And we're going to rotate those knees toward the screen and rotate them away. You are welcome to take yourself up to a little more vertical position if you need to take any stress off your back. Side to side for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring them to the middle. We'll bring our feet back down. Let's walk the feet a bit farther away from the bottom so we come up a little more upright. We're going to take our hands to the outsides of the thighs, and let's press those hands and thighs toward each other. You'll feel a little activity through those hip muscles. We're going to straighten the elbows a bit. Hold it here again in that soft elbow position. And with the belly drawn back, let's open up an arm to the side. So your opposite side of your trunk working to hold you still. Take that hand back to the knee. Opposite arm opens up. Take it back to the knee. Open up the other side. We could look over the shoulder. Let's take it back to the knee. Switch it up. Alternate again. Once more to each side. Open. Take it back to the middle. Grab onto those shins. We'll come up nice and tall. And let's wiggle through cat and cow. Curl it and reverse. One more time here. Curl it. Let's come up nice and tall. And we're going to take our hands back behind the body, press them into the floor. If you have wrist stiffness, take those fingertips and point them out to the sides. Either way, we're going to straighten our elbows and squeeze those blades together. Think about sending your breastbone up to the ceiling. If this is a challenging enough position to maintain and you're getting a nice stretch through the chest and the top of those shoulders, top of those arms, hold it here. If you'd like to take it further, we take those heels a little closer to our bottom and we can lift up into a reverse tabletop position. Whether your bottom's down or lifted, let's take 3 deep breaths. Inhale, breathe it out. Big breath in, exhale. One last time, big breath in. Breathe it out, and we'll slowly bring that bottom down. Let's get off of those hands, shake them out a bit, and we're gonna turn and face our screen. We'll be seated with the weight over the front of the sit bones. We have the option of sitting up tall with those feet in front of us or crossing the legs. Whatever feels more natural to you is the option I want you to pick. We'll take our hands down by our sides, fingertips touching the floor. Take a big breath in. Exhale, draw that belly in toward the spine. We'll lift one arm up. We're going to take a side bend, reaching toward the corner. press your supporting hand into the floor and drop that shoulder away from your ear. Good, big breath in. Exhale, come up nice and tall, opposite hand to the mat, big breath in. On the exhale, that other hand comes up. We'll side bend, pressing the heel of the hand into the floor and dropping that shoulder away from the ear. Big breath in. Exhale. Let's come up nice and tall. We'll roll those shoulders back for 3, for 2, and for 1. And let's make our way up to kneeling. We could double that mat over if you do need a little extra padding, or if you wanted to grab a rolled towel to place under your knees, that would be appropriate as well. Knees are hip width apart. We're going to come up nice and tall, and let's take one leg out to the side. We're going to make sure our hips square off here. Let's drop that hip on the straight leg side. Feel that inner thigh open up. We're going to hinge forward toward our screen and come up nice and tall. Hinge it forward, come up tall. 2 more here. Hinge it forward, take it up. And last one, hinge it forward. We're going to hold that here and take our hands to the floor. Let's open one arm to the side, float it back down. Open the other arm out to the side, float it down. One more time to each. Arm opens, arm closes to the floor. Again, arm opens, arm closes to the floor. Let's take our hands back to our hips. We'll come up nice and tall and bring our arms out to the side. Big breath in. Belly to spine as we exhale. Let's side bend. Reach that leg up. And let's take ourselves up and over to the other side. Side bend and reach. Take it up and over. One more time. Side bend. Take it up and over. Let's come up tall. We'll bring that knee down. Let's switch our sides. Opposite foot comes out away from the center. I'm going to give myself a little more room on that mat. With our hands to the hips, we'll square off our hips by dropping that hip on the straight leg side. And let's hinge. Bring that trunk forward toward the floor. Take it up tall. Hinge it forward. Take it up tall. 2 more here. Hinge. Bring it up. Last time, hinge it forward. Let's hold it here and bring our hands to the floor. We're going to lift one arm out to the side, parallel to the floor. Float it back down. Opposite arm lifts up. Float it back down. One more time to each. Open. Bring that arm to the floor. Opposite arm opens out to the side. Take it back down. Good. Let's take our hands to our hips. We'll come up nice and tall. Let's bring that second knee back to the mat and we'll roll the shoulders back for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's press those fingertips to the floor and flip our palms forward toward our screen. We're going to squeeze those blades and take those hands back behind the body. Let's pulse our pinkies together toward each other for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in. Exhale, arms to the sides, and let's make our way down to our mat. We're going to lie on our side. Let's rest that head on the lower arm. Knees are bent and heels are lined up with the bottom. We're going to lift up our waistline. Take that top hand right to that top hip or to the belly, whatever feels most comfortable to you. We're going to keep our feet together and bring that top knee up and down. Lift and lower. Keep that going. 3, 2, 1. Let's take the knees down. We're going to bring our hands to the floor. We're going to lift our feet up and down. Lift and lower. Keep that waistline lifted. We're moving from those hip joints. Good. Here's 3. Here's 2. Last one, hold the feet up. Again, we'll take that top knee up and down. Lift and lower. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take those knees and feet down. Now we'll take that top hand and press it into the floor. Feet stay down, lift those knees up and down. Lift and lower. Good. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them down. We're going to lift that top knee up. Start it at hip height, and we'll take that bent leg up and down. Fire hydrant lift and lower. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take it down to hip height. Hold it there. Swing it forward, knee to the shoulder. Press that bent knee back. Bring it forward, press it back. Here's 4, hinge for 3, 2, and 1. Let's circle that bent knee. Good. Here's 3, 2, 1. Circle the other way, take it backwards. Good. Press your bottom leg into the floor for a little extra stability as that top leg tires. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Let's straighten out that top leg and straighten the bottom leg out as well. We're going to circle that leg again. Straight leg this time. 2 more. Circle the other way. Good. Keep that waistline lifted. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to take that leg up, pulse it to the ceiling. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bottom leg comes up. Let's take them both down and out together to finish this side. Here's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them down, bend up those knees, pat out your hip. Good job. Let's roll it over. Take it up and over to the other side. All right, and again, we'll line up. Head resting on that bottom arm, knees are forward, heels are lined up with the bottom. Lift up that waistline and decide where you want that top hand to rest. Feet stay together, top knee comes up and down. We're moving right out of that hip joint. The pelvis and trunk stay nice and still. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down, feet lift up and down. Move again from those hip joints, pelvis and trunk stay nice and still. Here's 3, 2. Hold that leg up there. Feet stay together and lifted. Top knee again comes up and down. Keep it going. Good. Here's 2. Here's 1. Let's take them down. Knees come down. Feet come down as well. We're going to press that top hand into the mat. Feet stay down. Knees lift up and down. Good. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them down. Let's lift that top leg up with bent knees to hip height. Fire hydrant lifts up and down. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to hip height. Hinge that knee forward toward the shoulder. Back toward the wall. Hinge it forward. Take it back. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten it out. Hold it there. Oh, you know what? Let's bend that knee. We didn't do our bent knee circles. Can't leave you guys with any asymmetries. Got to get this hip as tired as we got the other one. Here's 3, 2, 1. Circle the other way. Keep it moving. That knee is tracing the circle for you. We're moving again right out of that hip joint. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Now we'll straighten that leg out and let's circle it again. Keep that waistline lifted. We'll straighten that bottom leg out to line up with our top leg. Switch and circle the other way. Keep that waistline lifted. Let's take that leg up and down. Pulse it a bit. The faster we move, the harder it is to keep that hip stable. Bottom leg comes up to meet it. Let's take them both down and up. Last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them down, bend up those knees, pat that hip out. Hopefully those hips are feeling equally tired now. Let's turn onto our back. We're gonna bend up those knees, lining our heels up with our hips and with those arms out about 45 degrees away from the body. Let's keep our feet and knees together. We'll rock them toward the screen and rock them away. Try to keep those blades pressed down into the floor and let that rotation, let that mobility come from the lower half of the body. Good, side to side. Let's take those knees back to the middle. We're gonna cross one ankle to that opposite knee. Press that knee out to the side and hold it there. Good. You could lift up into figure 4 stretch if you'd like. You could rock the body gently away from that screen to get a little more stretch in that hip. Take it back to the middle, cross the other side over. Press that knee out to the side, lift up if you'd like, and we can rock toward the screen if you'd like to intensify the work on those rotators. Take a big breath. Take it back to the middle. We'll bring those feet down. Let's turn ourselves over to hands and knees one more time. Once we're there, we can curl up and control through cat. Control it down, extending to cow. Curl it up. Control it down. Let's take it right back to the middle. Let's wag that tail side to side, taking the hips to each shoulder. Take it right back to neutral. We'll come back to our plank position. Take that tailbone to the ceiling and drop our heels down. Big breath in. Belly draws in as we exhale. We could walk those feet out a bit if you'd like. Press those heels to the floor. We'll breathe it in one final time here. Exhale, let's walk those hands and feet, lining them up with each other. Get that weight over the front of the ankle joints. We'll come up nice and tall to standing. Roll those shoulders back a couple of times. And if you'd like to, for our balancing segment, if you'd like to find something stable to hold on to, go ahead and find it now. A tabletop, a sofa back, a chair, whatever's working. Remember that if you're on your mat, it provides a little bit squishier of a surface, might make it a little more challenging than being on the floor. That being said, let's line up our feet underneath those hips. Feet pointing straight forward as best we can. We're going to lift our toes, spread them apart, and let's take them down one at a time. As we press those big toes into the floor, feel those muscles on the arches start to work a little bit to help you out. We're going to shift our weight toward one foot and bring the other foot in front of it. Line them up in tandem. Hold them there. We could stay here. We have a couple of options for challenge. You're welcome to look side to side. You're also welcome, if you need to hold on, please do, to close your eyes. Feel all those little adjustments that your feet need to make for you to keep you upright when your eyes aren't doing the work. All right, let's open those eyes if they've been closed. We'll switch our feet. Take that other foot forward. Step into that tandem position. Hold it here, and if you'd like to challenge it further, we can do our head turns, or we could close our eyes. Again, appreciate all the work that those feet, those little arch muscles are doing for you, those toes. We'll open up those eyes if they've been shut. Let's bring our feet apart from each other. We can shake our knees out a bit. Let's point those toes a little bit away from the center, soften up those knees, and we'll take a big breath in, bring those arms up overhead. Let's clasp those hands together, reach them up, and drop our blades to the floor. Let's take a tall side bend to each side, reach toward that corner. And inhale and up and over toward that other corner. Reach those hands to the ceiling. Bring our feet together. We'll take our hands down. Let's finish with one more big breath, bringing those arms up and overhead, taking our palms together. And we can take our hands to our center. As always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me